Yeah, this isn't physical distress. This is ownership. This is paperwork. This is distress from a financial situation. So we'll burn through and research 100 files and get all 100 files filled out with the data, the contact information, the basics. Then tomorrow is phone call day. Gotcha. And we start working through that calling because you've cold called just like all the rest of us. I mean, you got to get in the mood. You got to get feeling it. Like, you got to have that coffee. You got to get a little bit of sun in the morning. Like,
what does that conversation look like? Oh, we can role play a little bit if you want
to. Hey, good afternoon, Evan. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Who's this?
Good. Hey, this is Logan Fulmer.
Who are you? Why are you calling me?
Hey, Evan. I've got a real estate office here in San Antonio. I may have grabbed the wrong person or wrong topic. If that's the case, just tell me and we'll get off the phone right now. But these are the kind of projects I work on, and there might be some title issues here.
What kind of projects are you working on? I don't understand why you're calling me.
Because I've identified there's some problems with this property. I think there may be ownership problems.
Which property are you referring to?
It's the one over down on the Cove on Lake Medina.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. What about it?
Yeah. Is this something you don't want to talk about? Did I get the wrong guy?
Well, no. I mean, it's just it's family-owned land, a house. We've been having issues with. I don't understand what you're calling me for. What do you want to know about this property? It's my grandpa's house.
Yeah, usually folks in this situation are interested in doing something about it, refinancing, selling, or improving the property, but usually the title problems stop them from doing that. But I run a business that actually resolves these problems and deal with it. So I did identify there are probably some of these problems. I'll tell you what I actually noticed. When your great-grandfather passed away, it looks like you had 7 kids. And I did notice that some folks had been paying the taxes, but some folks quit. Was that because they couldn't fix the problems?
Well, here's the backstory on it is we have, my uncle and aunts, they all want to use the property. At one time, we all were using the property. Well, my other uncle wanted to sell it and then created family disputes. And now, some of us use it every once in a while, but, it's just not, it's a conflict of family issue.
Right. So your uncle wanted to sell it.
Yeah.
Did anybody else want to sell with him?
Well, it was, they talked about it, went back and forth, and, nothing's really been done with it. Right now, half the family wants to sell it, half the family wants to keep it,
That's really common. I know that you guys probably think that y'all are on an island out there and this never happens to anybody and everybody fixes their own issues. This is super common. We probably have 20,000 properties like this in Bexar County, and Medina probably has a third of that many. I do have some interesting research. One of the guys in the office is researching through the files. I'd be interested in talking with you more. I do have to disclose at the end of the day, when I solve these problems, it is usually for profit. And I usually do become the owner. Now, when you have ownership fighting and a lot of times there are judgments and liens against people and delinquent taxes, each person has to have something a little bit different. But if you'd be willing to have a little bit more elaborate conversation, I could tell you if this is the kind of property that I would like to take on, and probably by the end of that call, you might decide, hey, this is something I would like to work with you on, or you might decide it's not, and I respect that too. Would you want to have that call now?
Well, Logan, I just think, I respect what you're trying to do here, but at the end of the day, this has been going on for 20 years. How are you going to fix something that we haven't been able to fix in the family?
I hear that question a lot. Here's the problem. Have you ever hired a lawyer to try to help you on this?
Well, we don't want to sue each other. We're family.
Well, not necessarily sue each other, but a lot of the title issues that you may still be dealing with, like the incomplete probate or the probate that no one did for your grandfather, that's got to be resolved. You probably have some other judgments and liens against some of the other owners, and you now probably have a tax lien. A lot of that stuff does require an attorney. Have y'all hired one yet or got consulting from one?
No, we haven't talked to anybody on it.
Well, let me give you a little bit of background. I do several hundred transactions like this annually. I've got lawyers that work for me on my payroll. And I can promise you that if this is a property that fits in the criteria of the deals we do, I can promise that I'll fix it. But here's the way that promise looks. I'm not going to promise I'm going to do anything for you. It gets real easy. You own 1/5 of the property, and let's just say we come to whatever price there is, I'm going to give you X dollars for 1/5 of the property, and I haven't fixed all the problems, but I'll buy your share. And if we come to that answer, you can come to my office on Friday, pick up a cashier's check or cash, and you'll sign your deed and you're done. Now, I'm going to have to deal with all these people in your family one by one, and I don't even know if you and I are going to work a deal out. But if we get to that point where we can,
how much money are we talking about here?
I don't know that yet. If I would definitely tell you an answer if you could articulate all the problems exactly.
I mean, that's a $300,000 house, So you're saying 1/5,
Well, I mean, you own 1/5 possibly, so I would only buy 1/5 from you.
So we're still thinking around $50,000, $60,000 you're gonna buy from me?
Well, here's an example I'll give you. So if you go to the Cadillac dealership and you have a brand new Cadillac, perfect, shiny, everything's great, and you sell it, you get top dollar. Go look at the NADA book. That's the number you get. Now, if you bring in a Cadillac that has a busted window, quarter panel needs to be repainted, and it's kind of sputtering a little bit, you're not bringing me a full price deal. And what you have is property that has some of those things. So during our discovery process, what we're going to work through and figure out is we're going to identify the problems. We're going to tie a dollar amount to what the problem is and what it takes to get fixed. Then we're going to ratio that out to your ownership share. And that's how we'll come up with some discounted value so that I make a little money for all the work I do, but you put some money in your pocket that's at least worth you walking away.
Okay. Well, I mean, we keep getting these bills every week, and so
the tax man never quit.
Yeah, so I guess we could talk. I don't know if I'll be ready, but we could talk about it.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. At least I know you're open to a conversation. Me and my researcher are going to sit down and do a little research. You'd be amazed at what kind of stuff we can find in the land records and Ancestry.com and some of this. We'll put together a research project, and we'll come back to you in a couple weeks. If you have any other folks in your family that want to participate in that call, you're welcome to bring them. We can do it on a Zoom. Y'all can come by our office, or we can do it on the phone, whatever you want. Just tell me, and that's when we'll get back together. Okay.
Well, my brother probably will be interested in it, so we'll talk. We can talk to him about it. But the other family member, they haven't been able to make an agreement and everything.
There are a lot of ways to work those out, but one of the things I find that matters the most is he doesn't get along with y'all because all these things in family history, or maybe he's just got some craziness. I don't know. But usually when it's a new person like me who's never dealt with the family before, if I'm really kind and careful and respectful, sometimes I can get him to work with me individually, separate from y'all. And the neat thing is,
well, I don't know about Gus. He's
crazy.
He's crazy.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a weird uncle. You know what I mean?
Right. I deal with people in jail. We've dealt with people that they were in the psychiatric ward, and we had to get a guardianship appointed for them. We've dealt with some of the craziest things. So I'll tell you this, my billable rate is really high. And I'll be willing to work on this project to determine if we have something we can work on together for no cost. So if Gus gets to the point where he's a deal breaker and you can't deal with him, I'm the one that loses out because you ain't paying me per hour to work on this. So let's do a little research. We'll get back together in 3 or 4 days, and then you and I can talk about that, okay?
Okay. Logan, do you have a company? What's your company? Can I do a little research on you?
Yeah, I would encourage that. My name is Logan Fulmer, Asset Resolution Partners. Pop it into Google, and you'll find out who it is and what we do, and you'll actually find a lot of reviews about folks that we've closed files on.
Okay, and you're located where?
Down in San Antonio, Texas.
Oh, you're local here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Logan. Well, thanks for giving me a call. I'll be waiting to hear from you.
Very good. Now, the moment we get off this call, the things that stood out to me are that Gus, he's the crazy guy. No one likes to deal with him. And half the property owners wanted to sell, and the other half weren't so sure.
Yep.
Next thing I'm going to do is now I'm going to grab my researcher, and we're going to go digging, and we're going to itemize. In the tax lawsuit, usually an ad litem attorney will go find all of the owners through research. All of those owners, I don't have to pry and ask you, because sometimes that early call feels like you're prying. I'm going to go find all the owners in an obituary, the tax lawsuit, or one of those places. Then I'm going to call them all before I come back to you, because Gus might just hate you because you used to beat up on him or took his girlfriend in 9th grade and he hates you now.
Yeah.
Gus might sell his share for $500 before we even have our phone call. So that's the process I'm going to call through. Everyone have the same conversation. Some people are forthcoming and want to sell immediately and walk away.
Gotcha.
But the interesting part is when I come back to you and I have a family tree built out, all this useful information, and I'm not mean or aggressive and very easy to talk with, these folks are like, whoa. these people know what they're doing.
Yeah.